Gavin Newsom is kind of going on this new tirade to try and get rid of literally every kind basically he's trying to go along with all of this new climate change stuff. So now there's a new report saying that he's going to be banning all of the gas-powered lawnmowers, leaf blowers, and chainsaws as soon as 2024. This is a part of, like I said, this climate change, eco-friendly stuff that they've been trying to do forever. And it's just gotten ridiculous at this point, and you'll see why. But they're going to be requiring that all newly sold small motor equipment, primarily used for landscaping, to be zero emission. Basically, you're going to need to have to plug it in, or have the ability to plug that in, or it's going to need to be battery powered. Either way, it's going to require one or the other. Now, if you've got a big yard, good luck. Okay, because I couldn't imagine how in the world you're going to get a battery lawnmower to go that entire distance. I mean, they never think about stuff like this. They assume that everybody's just kind of sitting in the same place doing the same thing, but that's not how all of this works. I mean, there's always somewhat of a difference that's going on throughout all of that. Now, the new law, they're saying to any engine that produces less than 25 gross horsepower, like I said, this is including lawnmowers, weed trimmers, chainsaws, golf carts, specialty vehicles, generators, and pumps. But it does not apply to any of the normal vehicles that you would see, like motorcycles and cars and boats, snowmobiles, airplanes, things like that. But rest assured, it will. I mean, literally, there's another law or an executive order he signed into place that's going to require all new cars and passenger trucks sold in California to be zero emission by 2035. So even though they're doing this with these small motor things now with your lawnmower, they're starting there. By the way, that's your generator too. So good luck if you lose power, you can't run a generator anymore. How does that work, guys? I mean, nobody wants to talk about that. I mean, what about the pressure washers that typically run with a motor? How is this going to work? I mean, they're going to be ruining industries here simply out of what reason? What reason are they trying to do this? I mean, they're pretending as if this is actually going to make some difference. And I'll explain why it won't. But it isn't, plain and simple. And they're going to be doing this to the cars very soon. And what's funny is that, of course, they wanted to lift Tesla up on a pedestal as being the kind of iconic electric car. But even Elon Musk doesn't want to keep his factory in California because of high taxes and everything else that, is terrible about California. He's moving his plant and main corporate office to Texas. That's not a very good look for Gavin Newsom, is it? And you have them trying to implement this stuff, but it's not going to make a difference. Remember, California can barely keep its lights on. If you remember reports earlier this year, last year, I mean, they were having power outages like crazy. Why? Because their eco power plants weren't working very well. They're not very consistent at all. And yet they want to, for some reason, assume that this is somehow going to help. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Now, the thing that we also have to look at is because California is trying to be a part of this whole woke climate change accord thing where they care so much about it. Think of the Greta Thunbergs and everything where they think they're making this big difference. But even if all of the pollution in California was zero, it wouldn't make a dent anywhere. It just won't. Even if the entire United States of America were to entirely reduce its emissions to zero, which is impossible, by the way, okay? That is an impossibility. But if it did, it would make such a small difference that nobody would even be able to tell whatsoever anyways. And we'd be living in an absolute terrible, terrible country to live in at that point. But the reason why it won't make a difference whatsoever, whether it's California or the entire United States, is because of China. India too, but China's probably one of the most outright ones out there, whereas they don't care about the climate at all. They care about running their country. Fancy that. But so, for example, there was a closure of a plant in the U.S., the Navajo plant, I guess one of the coal plants or something like that. Well, China opened up a new one literally 19 days after that one closed. They're not even trying to cover this up. They really don't care. China does not care at all. So China plans to build more coal power plants and has hinted that it will rethink its timetable to slash emissions in a significant blow to the UK's ambitions for securing a global agreement on phasing out coal at the climate summit. Now, like I said, the UK, all these countries get together to basically say they're going to try to reduce their emissions and do all of these good things for the earth. China doesn't care. China is never and has never been a part of this. And you know what's even worse is that this group that meets at the climate summit never demonizes China. They never talk bad against China because they know better as well. They know what's going on. They know that China is the main culprit and everyone's scared to say anything against them. That's what's happening right now. So the Chinese premier, whoever it is there, said that they have stressed the importance of regular energy supply after swaths of the country were plunged into darkness by rolling blackouts that hit factories and homes. Chinese authorities went on to explain that energy security is the basis for a modern energy system, and that given the plentiful abundance of coal in China, it is important to optimize its use while intensifying domestic oil and gas exploration. So in other words, you other countries can pound sand. We are going to do our own thing. Doesn't matter. We don't care about what you guys are doing over there because we realize that when we don't have power in our country, people distrust the government that rules and runs their lives. That's what it's like to be in a communist country. And as a result of that, we need to keep the lights on for sure because we don't want people second guessing our authoritarian and communist government. That's basically what they're saying there. None of this will make a difference of what we do in the United States or any of these other countries when you have China out there doing whatever it wants to do. It is literally a waste of time, and that's why we're always talking against it, because it just doesn't make sense, especially when they ignore the world's biggest polluter in the name of wokeness, of PC culture. Is that really what it is? I think it kind of is. I mean, it's the same people that refuse to demonize China for the Wuhan lab coronavirus outbreak. I mean, it was right there. That's where it started, okay? Nobody is allowed to say anything about that. If you say it, they'll tell you that you're racist. If you say that China's the biggest polluter, all of these are facts, okay? They're going to call you a racist too. I'm not going to fall for that. That's not what we should be doing here. The facts are the facts, and China isn't willing to play along, so why are we? It doesn't make any sense. You just watched a clip from The William Hall Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.